All right, here we go. OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, and up on TSN 4. Bryan Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan.
What's going on?
What's going on?
We need a big show today. I think we took a step back yesterday. The Leafs went forward, and we went back.
What are you talking about? You called
Listen.
it.
No. Doogie
right.
with the coffee started off the day. Major mishap. JP, the mic, it was a blip. It set everything back.
It's all good.
And then Hazy B went to the game, and he did the Instagram microphone pick.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it could have been a selfie. Did you want a selfie last
Dude.
night? I was killing a lot of time last night. I had
The
to
next
wait.
one, you got to just have your wife with the hands stretched out, holding hands, and then the microphone, because
Okay.
that would be the
I will
King
do
Daddy
that.
topper.
Do you think I'm going to be there by Tuesday night, or do you think I'll be waiting for Florida-Tampa? What are we thinking? You think I'll be there for Game 5, or what's the call here?
You know what? Ottawa's going to throw everything at them in the first period of the next game because these guys aren't stupid. They know that it's looking like the wild card versus the first place in the division, but, and I said it last night, they can't keep hanging their hat on, well, we came back, well, we like our 5-on-5, well, we've got a shot, because it's 2-0. And you just can't, you can't keep almost, it's not rewarding yourself, but being happy about small victories, because at the end of the day, it's just
wins.
It's about wins. It's not a small victory league. It's not a developmental league. It's not we're gaining experience from this. It's just it is what it is. You win or you lose. So they're going to throw everything at them to try to get back into the series because they know, Hayes, and as well as everybody, if you go down 3 Cobb, there's a good chance you're going down.
Yeah, I could see. I mean, I thought the game was pretty. I didn't think the Leafs had their A stuff last night. That's the, for them to win, that was that's a big, star for them because
I thought it was a muddy track out there.
That's kind of what I mean. Like it was, I don't know, Hayes, you were in the building, how you felt, but it just, for them to win and get it done. That's a credit to the Leafs. I thought Stolarz was great again. There were some great individual and defensively in the third period. They were fantastic. I mean, they didn't give up any shots. They didn't give up anything. But I didn't think there was no separation. There wasn't a lot of space out there for magic. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I honestly think that was such an important game for the Leafs. We talked about it a lot yesterday. That Game 2 will say more about them, and I think it did. And I think it's actually way more positive. It goes without saying, if you're a Leaf fan, you're obviously ecstatic today. They're up 2-0 in the series. They haven't been up 2-0 in a series since 2002. The Matthews and Marner era have never been up 2-0. They've never been in this position. So needless to say, that is obviously a very unique situation to this fan base, and it's a very positive one. But I think the way that the game played out was actually exactly what you wanted. It would have been, I think you feel better about the Leafs in a weird way, them winning in the fashion they did last night, than if they had run off and won 6-0. And it was a laugher and gloves are dropping in the third period.
Hayes, a lot of years we've seen the Leafs pile on the small victories. We played in a tight game.
Roles are
we
reversed.
came back. Yeah, we came back. We kind of made it close, and we gave ourselves a chance, and it's like, great.
That's exactly what I was witnessing last night. I've seen that so many times against Boston, against Florida, where it's like these are tight games, they're close games, and you could sit there and say, well, I liked our Corsi and I liked our high danger chances, and I wish the ref gave us a goal.
Getting back in the game, all of it.
It's completely irrelevant to your point. Once the last goal goes in and the buzzer goes off, it's over and you lost. And I think what the Leafs did last night, the second period was like watching paint dry. But that's a good thing. It actually, I thought, was a positive because into the third, after Ottawa made a pushback, which you knew was going to happen, and it'll be even more extensive tomorrow night. But after 5 periods, the aggregate was 8-2. Ottawa was down 2-0. They had a great second period. And they pushed back and pushed and pushed. And the Leafs, they bent, but they didn't break. But then in the third period, I thought the Leafs played a perfect shutdown third period. And one mistake, Ekman Larson, Domi, miscommunication, Gaudette with a beautiful tip, and it's in, and it's 2-2, and it's deflating. But I think if you're Craig Berube, you leave that third period and show that tape and say, we do that the rest of the way, you're going to be in a great spot because they pushed everything to the outside, no odd man rushes, nothing stupid out there.
Yeah.
And that's what I think a lot of Leaf fans have been waiting for a long, long time. Talk about lessons, learning lessons, apply some lessons. And I thought they were applied last night. And I think, it was obviously in the end, it's Domi and, it's 2-0 and it's very familiar. And we'll get into all this kind of stuff over the next few hours. But I actually think the way the game played out, where there wasn't much space, it was a low event game, was actually a real positive for the Leafs. And the fact that they won clearly is a cherry on top.
That's where I was going, you said, yeah, we had some missteps yesterday. I felt like you called an overtime game or a tight 2-1, 3-2. That's where I thought you were going to start the show with, is like, I got to break my arm patting myself on the back.
Yeah.
I swear that's what you called before you left yesterday.
I said it was going to be a race to a 2-1 or a standard 3-2 NHL hockey game, and if they don't commit to that, they're nuts, and they did.
Well,
and that's what it was. And that's what it was. And, if you're Ottawa, I thought they got better as the game went on. I thought Stützle was really dancing in the second and third period, looked really comfortable. Brady had a good game. I thought Jake Sanderson had a good game.
You know what, Brian, sort of interrupt? The one thing I thought I thought those guys played well and all that. But the mistake they made in overtime, that's a November regular season game mistake.
That's
right. The flyby.
Batherson
like Drake
and
Batherson.
Cousins.
Well, you're right. Well, Cousins blows the tire. But Drake Batherson goes offensively and tries a backhand saucer hope through the middle that gets picked off, and they go the other way. So, okay, now you work hard to get back. Domi goes through the middle. This is the playoffs. You got to get a chunk of somebody. You got to do something. And Domi, that was, and again, you can say all the things, lesson learned and all that, but that's the difference. It's a small margin for error. Here, Joe's showing it. Good play by
Simone Benoit is
exactly.
Bobby Orr here leading the rush.
But Cousins blows the wheel, but Batherson on the drive-by, you got to get a chunk of somebody through the middle of the ice.
Drive-by is inexcusable.
You can't
especially when you're the guy that threw the hope backhand blind pass. You would think that he would be looking for flesh and blood. And it's just not good enough. And that's where we talk about guys like Drake Batherson's a hell of a player. He's one of my favorite players to watch as a winger. He's talented. Yeah. He's got skill. He's got some stones. He plays with jam. But it's like there's you're smart enough to know what the hell you're doing there. It's not like, hey, Drake, let's look at the tape. I always say to people, it's like a do or don't league. There's no reviewing that. You think Greeny's going to talk to him and say, "Hey, if this happens again, tilt your shoulders"? No.
Right.
He didn't do it, and it cost us big time.
And there's two of them
mistake.
There. There's two of them there.
But
the backhand sauce into the middle of the ice, right on Benoit's tape, is the most egregious one. But the next one's just simply effort. To your point, you just got to hit the guy. You got to be willing to step up and hit the guy. You have to do it.
And in games like that. I guess my point was, in games like that, the margin for error is so small.
Right.
And that was the margin right there, and that's the difference in a game. Because when it's a low-event game and there's not a lot of space out there and you're just waiting for something to happen, you don't go chasing it. You've got to let it come to you. And that was a difference for me, again, in experience and non-experience. And, again, you make a mistake, you come back, and you miss. Drake was – Batherson, I thought, was their best player, Ottawa's best player in Game 1. That's a mistake yesterday, but it's a critical mistake because you clawed back into the game. You at least gave yourself a chance on a 50-50 overtime, we'll see. But then a mistake, you go chasing it. That's a dagger.
Yeah, it's an absolute
not
dagger.
Great.
It's an absolute dagger. And, credit to Max Domi, because the story of Domi is Shakespearean, really, when you consider the legacy name. We've talked a lot about it for weeks here. The Battle of Ontario in the early 2000s, and Ty was in the middle of everything. He was one of the faces of the Battle of Ontario, and there's this kid 20 years later turning the lights out on Ottawa in Game 2. Meanwhile, he really struggled in Game 1. Max was not good in Game 1, and to the point where the only lineup change they made was flipping him with Pontus Holmberg.
I didn't think they were good last night
and
either,
they weren't. And that was the thing. And even on the Gaudette goal, They get hemmed in their own zone a little bit. Ekman-Larsson, I don't know what he was doing, but it was a communication issue, clearly.
Yeah.
He thought Max was cutting left, and Max didn't. And then all of a sudden it's in the back of their net, and you can feel it. When the Domi line is out there, when Domi's playing with Robertson in particular, and McMahon, who I don't think has been good through 2 games, it's tense. Like you can feel Berube's like tense. He's like, okay, I got to survive a shift here.
Yeah.
And they couldn't survive it. Yet all of that is irrelevant because of what he did in overtime. And it was a beautiful play.
When Nicky Robertson took that penalty, and he's got to start putting one hand on his stick when he's involved in like a non-puck battle. He's turning around and hitting guys in the head. I thought it was game over for that line when he took that penalty. Because it was just
Robertson missed a couple shifts after that too. He got skipped and then
200 feet from his net, and you're just bonking a guy in the head. It's so stupid, and that must have driven. Well, I'll give the coach credit, man, because I would have never. I would have said, "Take your gear off, please."
And he was asked today, Berube, and he said he doesn't think he'll have any lineup changes for tomorrow night.
But why would you? I don't think you would.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're on the road, different matchups.
Well,
dude, I think it's I think it's tough for a coach to go away from a 2-0 lineup, man. I really do.
I hear what you're saying.
Actually, you know what? I might take that back. Could you not find a spot for Pacioretty on the road, a little heavier body?
Possibly. Maybe David Kampf, who you can trust defensively to take draws, and, I hear you. I don't know. I mean, Pacioretty's weird because he's been out for as long as he's been out, but I could see it. I could see Robertson maybe coming out, Pacioretty going in. Maybe David Kampf is an option for another guy who can take face-offs and kill some penalties. I hear what you're saying, and I
don't know how. I don't want to be a dick, but I don't know how Kampf gets in that lineup right now.
But we just said what we said about Nick Robertson. He's like 2 weeks ago we didn't think he was going to play, and now you're not. No one's given anything. This is the NHL. It's the Stanley Cup playoffs. But I hear what you're saying, and I also there's a part of me that thinks there's a message being sent here because the Leafs in Berube, what I've been impressed by, and it's easy to do this clearly when you're winning. They're winning down the stretch. They win the division. They win game 1. They win game 2. They are exuding confidence, and they're very quiet. I haven't seen a headline quote to comment. I haven't seen anything. I know Berube said after game 1, talk to the league, or that's not my job. I'm seeing a lot out of Ottawa. They're talking a lot in Ottawa about the officiating, about how they're not panicking, which I'm not buying for a second, that you can't wait to get back to their building. And I got some clips that we'll play here throughout the hour, but I think that might be what you're talking about, is if you make a lineup change, would that indicate you're not confident? Like, do you want to send that message to your group, or do you want to just keep chugging and say, hey, everyone keep playing? Like, why would we change anything right now?
It's possible. The one thing I will say, which I loved, and I don't know if that happens a lot in any market, like Drake Batherson did in media today and just said, I need to be better. Which I loved it, because he's a hell of a player and he made a mistake. That's what we talk about in the playoffs. So, we've how many times have we come on this show, and regardless of a market, going, we didn't hear from that guy. They didn't make him available. It would have been easy for Ottawa to go, not available today. We'll have him chat tomorrow after the game. But instead, he comes out and goes, hey, learning, I made a mistake. That's on me. Which I think that's a positive sign for a kid that, they could have easily hit and just said not available.
He's played 2
today.
playoff games. We keep saying it. That's all he's played. Like Drake Batherson, he's got no playoff history.
But in the end, I don't think I still think you're trying to tweak things. I agree with you, you go with the same lineup. But it's a different venue. It's different. You don't get last change. You don't get other things. And it's not like Robertson had been lights out. Like, he's a guy, I think, who's got a shorter leash. Everybody else in that lineup, I think Craig Berube trusts in certain situations. Now, maybe Robertson surprises us, just like Max Domi did, because Max Domi was not great.
Well, that's the thing about the guy, Jamie. That
Robertson,
that's all you need.
Yeah, he could score a goal. Like, at any moment, he could wheel down the ice and rip one home. But, man, that penalty, I said it to Duthie on the preview show. I'm like, he does some things. He looks like, and he does it a lot. He gets scratched. He comes back in the lineup. He scores a goal. He sits a period. He comes back and scores a goal. But sometimes he does some wacky things out there, man. Like a giveaway, a silly play on the power play that leads to a breakaway and a goal, or dumb penalties. This guy's prone to take dumb penalties.
Well, listen, they got through it last night The Leafs are up 2-0. What's very clear is like Pontus Holmberg's going to stay with Tavares and Nylander. That line was much better last night. Willie was really good last night. And they like the Matthews line isn't going to change. That Tavares line is not going to change. And Lawton, Yarncroke, and Lorentz is not going to change. Like that is stuck. And what is very clear also is if you're watching it, he's got a lot of faith, Berube, in this Ekman-Larsson-Benoit pairing. They're playing more minutes than Carlo and Rielly. Yet Morgan Rielly, now 2 goals in 2 games. He's putting up points.
Buried the lead. I mean, our boy.
There he is. I mean, listen, he had a tough year. He had a really tough year. He had the toughest year of his career, I would argue, the way he played. Now, it was great for the team, so it didn't matter. It didn't have to be a daily conversation. He was healthy, so it was all good. It's not like he had to suffer through injuries or anything like that. But, Rielly, he didn't have the greatest year. He's off the power play because they're going with the 5-man unit, and we'll get to that because it was successful again last night. But this is what was always in front of him was you're a playoff performer. Like, he's earned that reputation based on how he's played throughout his career. Every time he got to the playoffs, this guy gets to another level, and he contributes. Yeah. And you look at the numbers, they speak for themselves, man. Like, if you're going to contribute points and offense and 5-on-5 goals, you're a huge asset to the team. And
did he
credit
tie a
him for
record
that.
last night with defenseman goals? He's like 13th, or no, he's high up there for defenseman goals in the playoffs.
Right.
3rd or something.
Well, and someone had, again, I saw something of like points per 60 minutes or whatever, 5-on-5 for a certain amount of games. And he's up there like above Cale Makar. And that's the kind of numbers he's putting up throughout his career. So, I mean, it turned out to be an all-around positive night. Like the room, by all accounts, was buzzing. They're ecstatic. And, I was talking about it last night after I posted the mic online that it's almost like, we're in a time machine here and we're back in 2002 or 2004 because if you're a Leaf fan, it's just positive vibes and you're pushing Ottawa out and OT winners. And if you're in Ottawa, you have to be thinking, I can't believe is it going to happen again? Like, are the Leafs going to come in here and beat them again and go 5-0 in the playoffs? Obviously, they're in the driver's seat. They were talking about it post-game. Travis Green was talking about it. Brady Tkachuk. They're all saying what you would expect them to say. I understand what they're saying. But I don't buy it that there's no panic in that room. How can there not be panic in the room? You're down 2-0. You're going home. There's uncertainty of what the building's going to look like. And I got to be honest, Ullmark last night, I thought he looked really shaky again. Really shaky.
But he got it together. And we're talking about 10 minutes of hockey.
I didn't think there was anything he could do on the first 2. I mean, goes, they throw it towards the net, it goes off the goalie, goes off Jensen's leg, right? He's redirecting.
Yeah.
How did the goal? And then Rielly's is a seam play, beautiful pass by Nylander. Like, to me, I don't know. I thought he looked really good, like in tights. Like he stopped. Was that home? Who got the breakaway? Was that Holmberg?
Well, Tavares had a breakaway. He didn't get it off though. Like it was Sanderson got back.
This one, I mean, you can't blame him on that. You need Batherson to get under a stick there, and then this power play goal. I thought his positioning was fine on it. It redirects. This goes literally off of Nick Jensen in the net. So watch, it goes off his stick, off Jensen in the net. Like he's playing the rebound. Like I didn't have a problem with those goals.
No
what I did have a problem with is, again, Ottawa's penalty kill gives up a goal 19 seconds in. Like you lose the draw, you don't get set up. Like that penalty kill, that's killing you. Like literally, and conversely, that's
quickly.
That's what's winning games for the Leafs is that penalty kill is the power play's killing them.
1-for-1 last night.
Yes,
and that's it. I mean, and I guess the Domi goal he screened. I don't know. He's given up a lot of goals in 2 games.
Well,
to me, he did the bench thing. No one in the rink knew what he was doing. To me, it looked like he was kind of stalling or something, and he just looked shaky to me. But I don't know. I look at it like now he hasn't won in a long time in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like if you're in Ottawa, I'm sorry. I just don't think you can say, I feel great about Linus Ullmark. I don't think you can say that.
Well,
like
you're 0-2. You can't. I mean, he didn't play well in game 1, and he allowed 3, and the other guy allowed 2.
You're not feeling anything, Hayes. You're saying we need and you better because that's where it's at. You know,
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean,
there's
it's
no
just a matter of
feeling
fact.
anything. It's like, like I said, do it or don't. It's like you got to probably be the best player on the ice tomorrow night, or your team's in big time trouble and probably not.
Yeah,
coming close to
he's
this.
got to have
Right.
the best game of the series clearly tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Like he's got to be great. And
I thought Stolarz made a couple timely saves last night. Like Ottawa press, like that Dylan Cousins had a chance with 2 minutes left.
yes, a glove save.
That was an unbelievable save. Like
Yeah,
that
it
was
an unbelievable save.
And then Batherson with a little curl and drag, he misses it short side. But that's those were two pretty grade A's with a couple minutes left in regulation. That looks a little bit different. It's not termed a grade A because Batherson misses the net, but I thought Stolarz made a couple, again, timely saves that needed to be there for you.
Yeah.
And,
and then he almost killed Ridly Greig at one point. And
yeah, listen, I thought the refs did a good job. They just stayed out of the way. I
don't
care what
did.
the refs do, but look at this. There's one.
I don't know what
There's
Greg
two.
did.
The slash was like,
and then
okay.
this one here, Paul Bunyan chopping Brock. And then on the way by, he gets him. I don't know how he got 2 minutes.
I
Like
don't know
Johnny
how
was
Greg
telling
got
me
two,
that it
yeah.
was embellishment, and he shouldn't have gone down that badly. I'm like, I don't know. The guy's 6'6" with an anger on, and he just chopped his ankles off and punched him in the back of the head. I had that interaction as 6 minutes for Stolarz and 0 for Greg.
I agree. My only thought is that, again, we know that the league and the officials are constantly discussing the series and the ebbs and flows of it.
Right.
Is if they've marked Greg as, hey, you're lucky you stayed in the game one. You pulled the old, oops, I got tripped and ran into Stolarz in game two. Like this one, that's a grease. He knew what he was doing. He bails and runs into him.
Oh, so what do you think? The refs went up to Stolarz and said, okay,
No, that's not
you
what
got
it's
your
about.
pound of flesh now, and
No.
Greg got his the other night.
It's
you guys
about
better
telling
knock it off.
Greg, stop messing around because I'm going to let this guy give you one. That's what it felt like to me. It felt old school, like you're both getting two. Because you used to talk about, you used to say in front of the net, guys would just bury you. Then after the fifth cross check, that's enough.
That's enough. Yeah.
That's what I think the refs did last night for Stolarz because it was Greg. I think if that's somebody, if that's Batherson,
Even in the playoffs, by this standard in today's game, those are penalties.
they were
Like,
crazy
I thought-
whacks.
The reason I thought he got the penalty, Greg, because we know Stolarz. You could have take your pick, roughing,
could have had way
slashing,
more than
whatever.
2 minutes.
There's two, but let's just call it two.
It's
the
great,
reason
though.
why I thought Greg got it is because he didn't have to go back through the crease on
Yes,
the
true.
second flyby.
Yes.
Because he could have, he could have taken that abuse, okay, and then the ref should have called it
Slash.
right here. This
Holy
slash
Christ
should have been
almighty.
called. There's a slash.
That's
okay,
a Bronny
but that-
Hextall
but that-
special.
there's
Yeah,
no
it is.
call on that, nothing. But now what does he do? He comes back behind him through the crease. So that's where Greg knows he's coming back for an interaction.
Right,
So that's
exactly.
the only thing. So I thought the ref, though, if anything, that's probably a 4-2 or, some type of thing. And he just said, both of you getting it, move on with
And
life.
Ottawa can't complain about the refs anymore. Like
I don't think you do. Last night, no.
There was a clip today. Do we have the green clip from today, guys? I don't know if we do or not. Okay, we have it. I'm curious what you think. I don't know who asked this question because we do like to do the who asked that question routine. This one feels.
There's some dopes in there that are asking stupid questions.
There's some weird stuff.
Anyways.
I know
don't
you're
get me
going to.
going.
That was Simmons last night asking about Max Domi
Well,
after the game.
yeah.
It's
and
a tough one.
Greeny gave him a good
He
good
did
answer.
give him
I
a
will
good
say
quote.
that.
But you're right. No one's asking Berube, hey, you played against Keith Kachuk. What's it like to see Brady out there? I don't recall that being asked. Anyway.
It was a good. I didn't mind it. I thought side.
It's tough when it's Max that scores the 0-2 winner and his team's down 2-0. But Green handled it really, really well.
I thought he did.
I don't know who asked this question. This feels like a plant to me. Like you tell me if I got the tinfoil hat on. This feels like a question that was someone said, "Can you make sure this question gets asked?"
Tiger Woods rolled up piece of paper.
Yeah, the old hey, make sure you get this one
Here's
out.
my
'cause
phone number.
We want the league to have our eyes on something. This is what went down earlier today.
I went over the video of the overtime goal last night. Was there a chance that there might have been too many men on the ice for the Leafs? And
I think there was a couple last night. Definitely, the Tavares breakaway was too many men. I think they had 7 guys. We looked over it, and the overtime one, arguably, you could say there was, but it's part of the game.
That's a plant. What is that question?
That's Gord Wilson, and I love Gord Wilson.
I know, but come on. It was a 2-on-4. I'm watching, I'm saying, where are the Leafs? The Leafs have 3 guys on the ice.
Yeah,
who on earth is watching that OT winner?
It's good analyst work if he combed over and looked at how many guys.
Right. Greeny, I don't know.
I thought
man,
Greeny handled it well. Like Greeny didn't. I was waiting for Greeny to go. Yeah, you're right. Jeez, we had a problem with that.
It looked like he was on prompter a little bit. He's like, yeah, maybe the Tavares one. I think they had 7 guys. He had that one in the tank ready to go. That one felt.
That's tinfoil hat. I'm sorry you're going a little bit far on that.
All right.
But I think when you're getting
combing the tapes, that's an interesting one. I found that interesting.
Well, here's the thing too. You gotta have questions at these scrums, because last night, outside of it being a 3-2 overtime win, it wasn't a high event.
No.
You know, it felt like a notch had come down a little bit from the intensity from game one. Hayes, you were in the building.
Yeah, no, it was a very different game. It was a very, it was carbon copy first. The Leafs are up 2-0. That goes without saying. Ottawa's game plan tomorrow night is maybe you got to score first. You have to. It's imperative they score first. So it's 2-0. The building's rocking. In the second period, the Leafs had no shots. Nothing. They didn't have any play. Ottawa was really pushing, but a lot of it, again, was on the outside. And then you had the Greig and Stolarz stuff, that lit an engine, lit a fire under the place a little bit. But, yeah, it was a lower event game. It was not nearly – and I think Ottawa got the message. They were much more disciplined, and they played – I thought they played well last night. But in the end, the Leafs find a way to win in overtime. All right, Frankie Corrado coming up. We'll get his take on the game last night. We've got Struddy coming up tonight with the Oilers Game 2. We've got the Habs in Washington Game 2 tonight. We got the Jays. We'll see if they can register maybe 3 hits tonight. That would be nice to see if they can sneak in a few hits tonight, because they're back in Houston and back to 500. A chance to possibly dip below 500 tonight. We'll get to that a little bit later on. Role play level of concern in an hour. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
Somebody made me aware that on Saturday, if you have a blonde mullet, you go down to the Hockey Hall of Fame, and a Philly Pritchard look-alike Stanley Cup holder of the Cup contest. Is that true?
Are you talking about a one-off or every Saturday that happens?
No, this Saturday coming up, I think there's a look-alike, Philip Pritchard look-alike at the Hockey Hall of Fame.
No way. I haven't heard that, but
dude,
are they trying to hire a stunt double just so this guy can have a life?
Make sure he gets there on time too.
But Doogie, look into it and see what you get if you win.
I love that idea. I think we might need to send Al's brother down there in a blonde
wig
with white gloves on,
dude,
and a Stanley Cup.
You think that's a winner? Al's brother with a blonde wig and white gloves on?
I think it would be. Yeah,
I would start a GoFundMe. I would fund that. We need Al's brother in a blonde wig with white gloves.
I think Doogie dyes his hair and gets white gloves and parts it right down the middle and goes downtown. Doogie has a better shot.
I think Doogie would. Doogie's got a little bit of a Pritchard vibe to him. I think so. Yeah, there it is. Stanley Cup.
Con?
The Keeper Con. Calling all Phil Pritchard lookalikes at the Hall of Fame.
This can't be real. Somebody made that
Noodles,
up.
I swear to God, it's real.
That looks like a legit sign. I mean, I don't know why would they be posting it around the city like a lost dog?
Is that taped to a pole somewhere?
Doogie, is that the best pic you got of this thing? There is legit things online.
That looks photoshopped.
Yes, that's
legitimately
AI.
that doesn't look real.
Doogie, can you confirm?
It's real.
It is real. Call the Hall of Fame. Tell them it's us. They love us. They love
see
me
if,
in particular.
see if we can submit a
Plaques
contestant
in a hallway.
Yeah.
See if we could submit a contestant. We should have.
Yes.
We could do it very quickly. April 26th. Oh, yeah, we only have a couple days.
No, we got
Doogie,
time.
look at that pic.
Doogie, you're going.
You tell me if you dyed your hair and put white gloves on, a black dress jacket, and a blue dress shirt, do you think you win the contest?
And brown pants.
I would easily win this contest.
I think
do
so.
It, then.
I
yes.
do, Doogie. You've got a real Philip Pritchard vibe, man. I think we send Doogie in, and this guy. What is the prize? Do you get the
Doogie,
Stanley
what's
Cup for
the
a day, or Because that'd be an incredible giveaway. They'd obviously never do it, but if you could get a replica or something, set it up at a,
Yeah, but
imagine
again,
you threw a Stanley Cup party and your family's like, so let me get this straight. You have the cup because you look like Philip Pritchard. That is accurate.
It
and we're
is.
throwing a party. Okay.
I love it.
We got to look more into that.
Doogie, you got to go. We're all in tomorrow, I believe. You got to show up with the blonde wig. We'll put you on air. Let's see if we can create a Phil Pritchard.
Go get a blonde wig, some white gloves, a black jacket, and a blue shirt, and we'll see if it's good enough tomorrow that you get down to the hall.
Let's do it.
Is there a number?
We're doing it.
Was there a number to call there to see if we can enter, or you just show up? I didn't see if there was a number there.
I mean, are they turning people away? Could you imagine? It's such a big turnout that they have to turn people away. I find that hard to believe, but maybe I'm
Dude, it's unfortunate because you know that there is going to be possibly 100 guys that look nothing like him. You know what I mean?
Well, that's
like
Al's
there's
brother
Dan
with a beard, and it just. How much do you really commit? It's not an Elvis impersonation. It's
I think
Phil
you got to
Pritchard.
get a task force that goes outside in the line and just taps people and says, "You just stop it."
Like an auto cut. You're out. Like you're not
out.
coming in.
You're not coming inside.
Yeah, you're bothering people.
yeah.
You're
No,
not,
but
you're not making it.
So we could send Doogie, who would look like him, and then we could send Al's brother and see if he gets rejected and turned
I like
away.
that idea. There we go.
Nice.
Let's do a case study. Al's brother and Doogie and see who's got a better shot. Maybe Frankie Corrado wants to go down there.
He'll go down. Yeah.
I think Frankie's got some Philip Pritchard vibes going on. I think that's possible.
I'll tell you what, all four of us have an uncle that could go down. Everyone's
Yes.
got an uncle with a mullet and just
That's
has
right.
that vibe.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. You can close your eyes and see him. You're like, that's him, man.
Yeah.
Here he is, Frankie Corrado. What do you make of that, Frank? Any chance you want to fire down to the Hall of Fame on Saturday?
Dude, I'm mad if I got to go south of the 401 these days. I'm not even joking. Like, there's
Dude, you're
no
that
chance
guy, man.
I don't want anything to do with anything south of the 401 unless
My
it is a
family's
paid
Highway
appearance.
Yeah.
It is. They don't go south of Highway 7. They're like,
That's
we're
true,
not-
man.
Yeah. Who wants the traffic?
I'm glad you brought that up because I want to issue a thank you to the league for the 7:30 start yesterday.
Because you would have never got anywhere close.
I flew down the Parkway yesterday. I was in the building for the anthems last
rare.
night.
The harmonicas?
I was waiting for the harmonicas. They
Dude,
didn't
I'm
arrive.
sorry, I don't believe that.
I've
'cause
never-
I saw you leave the building.
I've
and
never
I looked
been
out on
quicker.
McCowan. I go, that guy's
a
pulling
parking
into that
lot.
rink at 8:45.
I'm telling you, man.
He was in the shoulder. I guarantee you were driving
it
like
was
Gord Miller.
Totally legal. It was not the old. There's the go bus lane that you always see one guy in a a tourist or something flying down.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows the transition in the city. If you've ever gone 401 onto the DVP, it's insane to just transition onto the Parkway. There was nothing. I made that turn going 80 onto the Parkway. I've never done that in my life. And I was going 100 all the way down. I never stopped. It was unbelievable. I was pulling into my spot. You know where it is. I'm still not telling anyone. At 7:15.
It's so greasy, man. Just I got a big
7:15.
spot. I get in and out so easily,
I will
and I'm
say
not telling
this,
It was
anyone.
amazing.
There is no better feeling, Hayes, you just experienced it last night, when you turn onto that Parkway and it's somewhat clear.
Amazing.
Like the DVP, because you feel like, what's wrong here? Because that's always, like, in your mind, you're going, I got to get downtown from the studio or whatever. That's 40 minutes. And 18 minutes is sitting there going around that one bend as you get halfway down.
That's right.
Because people just want to slow down and, I don't know, look at the trees or whatever. But there's no better feeling on the DVP when you see road ahead of you.
Well,
like you are just like,
and on
I'm
top
getting
of it, I thought I saw someone hitting a TP5 at Donalda. Like, Donalda's right off the side of the Parkway there. I'm like, I think someone's out there playing golf. So I'm like, worlds are colliding here. It's a beautiful thing. But I made it, and it was great. And what do you take out of last night, Frank? Like, where does your head go first when you consider where the Leafs are at through two games, but specifically what happened last night?
I mean, there's a few things. First of all, the Leafs, it's almost been skewed by the Leafs playing with the lead in this series because they get off to these early leads, and then the game becomes like let's just trap it up and let's kind of congest things. Let's pack it in around the house. And Ottawa, of course, they have the puck. They're playing with it in the offensive zone. Toronto blocks a million shots. And, that's where I think the 5-on-5 conversation comes alive for the Ottawa Senators, where it's like, we're doing some things. We're happy with how we're playing at 5-on-5. We're getting chances. Well, that's because Toronto is not at a 2-0 lead looking to go 3, 4, 5, which is what they would have done in the past and maybe had been exposed for opening things up a little bit. So Toronto playing with the lead is big. Anthony Stolarz, we can do the history lesson on the goaltenders of years past for Toronto, but it's like, Freddie Anderson, when he was more in his prime, although he is on fire right now in Carolina, he didn't have this developed and mature of a team in front of him. Jack Campbell, Ilya Samsonov, pinch hitting Joseph Wall, it never had this feel of Anthony Stolarz where, yes, confidence in the guy's ability, but looking like a monster and not letting in a leaky goal, making the saves you're supposed to make and then a few along the way that you're not necessarily supposed to. And like Noodles talks about, the timely save. And the power play. The power play just gets right to work. There's no messing around. It's a face-off win, and it's a set play that they've drawn up, and they work it really well. And Matthew Knies plays a big part in all of that because having that big extra body in front of the net has forced whatever defenseman it is, whether it's Shabbat or Jensen or Sanderson, to make a decision. And we're seeing, if you want to stay with Knies and be all over him, well, now your skate gets twisted up and it goes in off your skate and in the net. Or if you want to be all over Knies, it opens up John Tavares for a tip and a rebound goal. The power play has a plan, and it's executing very, very quickly.
Is that just bad mojo, do you think, Frankie? I mean, you killed penalties. Hayes, I'm sure you killed penalties as a defenseman. Me and Johnny were we had differing opinions on it, where he was like, you can't chase as much, and I'm like, I think when a power play scores on you that early, you got to go into attack mode as a killer and maybe don't let them set up or have any kind of time at all. If you watch Jake Sanderson and it's a fluky goal, Tavares just threw it on net, but he's 5 feet away from him and he just kind of there's no pressure at all. So when you're on a streak like that, if they're sitting, the penalty killers are in a room, what do you think their penalty killer coach is saying? Or is it just a bad streak?
First thing is you got to win a draw.
Yeah,
that's the first thing. You have
to
Amen to that. Amen to that.
They haven't won
win a face-off, and John Tavares has been digging in, and Claude Giroux's a good face-off guy. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, I would say it this way: you have one bad game in a series on the penalty kill, you don't necessarily abandon what your scheme is, what your philosophy is. You say, this is how we kill penalties, we're going to do it. Now you have two where you get exposed. I think you have to have that conversation and say, we have to make an adjustment based on what Toronto is doing, because they did it to us 2 games in a row now. And if it happens 3 games, we're basically being negligent in the fact that we're getting exposed for things. So maybe you do have to be overly aggressive. And then it's not that plays into Toronto's hand, because if you haven't done that all year and now you're just running around, Toronto's got good players. They'll snap it around. They'll put it through your skates. They'll put it through your stick. Now that's an uncomfortable situation for you, but you have to put yourself there because you're getting exposed otherwise. So I think that's part of the game within the game in all these series. But Toronto's got the one up in a lot of different categories right now.
Well, and that's where I was going to go, Frankie, is you can talk about winning or losing a draw, but I would say when you look at penalty kills when they're passive, and we had Gio in studio with us yesterday, and what did he say to you and I, Hayes, where he said a penalty kill, when they get scored on, it gets in their head a little bit. They sit on the bench, and if you feel like, God, I missed that one, or I missed my assignment there, he goes, confidence is a fragile thing, especially, that game 1 really messed with their psyche a little bit. So then, game 2, they only have one chance, and it's in the back of the net pretty quickly. And I pointed out, Hayes, I thought it was a bad bounce for Ullmark, because you could see Jensen tries to make I'm going to the back door, I'm going to take that away, and it hits him and goes in the net. But in the end, that penalty kill, I think, is struggling. They're too passive. And you know what? You're right. If you're too aggressive on 5 forwards that want to move the puck around, I don't know if you'd like to go down swinging being aggressive or going down swinging or not swinging and just standing there watching it go in.
It's got to be aggressive.
Always
That's the way
aggressive.
Yeah.
But that's my
Always.
point.
Roddy Brindamore's
100%.
penalty kill in Carolina. It's the Peter Laviolette model, and they are
Yeah.
going to pressure you all over the ice. Any
Right.
skilled player, no matter how good you are, if you are pressured, especially in any situation where they have the puck on their backhand and they're blind to the play, you attack every single
Right.
time.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, Alain Vigneault had this thing where he called it like eyeballs and behinds. Let's say it
Buttholes,
right, like
yes.
yes. If you're looking at
I've heard it.
yes, yeah, exactly. It's whatever. It's a saying, and it was always like if you see eyeballs. Well, now we gotta not be passive, but we're eyeing up in that situation. We're eyes to eyes because you're looking at me. You're in complete control. You see that guy's behind, and you're going, and then the next guy's going, and then the next guy's going, and it's like that's when you apply the pressure. And listen, I think Ottawa would be doing that just like everyone else. There's no big secret. Really, what it comes down to is a lot of these teams kill the same way. A lot of these teams do the same kind of, schemes. It's how well do you execute them, and can you get a bounce or two along the way? Can you get a save along the way? Does Toronto bobble a puck? How many times have we seen Toronto in years past on the power play? They do everything they want to do, and when it comes to pulling the trigger, for some reason it bobbled on Austin Matthews, and he hit the glass with a puck. Like that has happened so many times for Toronto, not happening right now. They're like, and I don't know, like sometimes you get the breaks, sometimes you earn the breaks, but Ottawa, like they need to, if you're going to go down swinging, like go down being aggressive. Don't go down being passive. Detroit had a passive penalty kill this year. It was 68%. It was terrible.
Right.
Like always, and Carolina, to O's point, Carolina had the best penalty kill. It was uber aggressive. So
Yes.
you can kind of look at how trends go around the league with that.
Right. And last night, again, the Leafs only had one power play. Yes, the night before it got crazy and they had 6 and they burned them, but they're 4 for 7 on the power play. The numbers are outrageous considering what we've seen from the Leafs power play in the past. And, you look at the Matthews line. I'm curious where you stand on this, Frankie, all of us. I think, again, I think you bring up a great point. They've been up 2-0 so quick. The complexion of the game changes. I'm sure the messaging from Berube is changing. The mentality is going to change. You don't want to make mistakes, and I think the Leafs have done a really good job of simplifying games and pushing stuff to the outside, not giving up odd man rushes for the most part. And I think the Matthews line probably symbolizes that because they really weren't dangerous last night, but they also I thought. They kind of set a tone for how this team is supposed to play in moments like that, which is really what you need from your captain, from your leader. And we talk about 69 goals and the highest paid player in the league and Hart trophies and Rockets. Ultimately, the only thing that guy needs, Matthews in particular, he needs to win. He needs to be on the winning teams. And I think he's done that with the winning habits, quote unquote. It's just not that sexy through 2 games. But on the flip side of that, if he turns it up, like if I'm Ottawa and I'm looking at him thinking this guy could burn me at any point, that's a scary proposition.
Yeah, and Hayes, you know what? I don't even know if it's a matter of turning it up. I think it's just a matter of, like, the team has a lead. We're in a comfortable spot. And Toronto so many times in the past was like, we need more. We need to press for more. And we are not satisfied with this. We want to win this game 4-0, 5-0. And I'm not saying like you have to sit back and just be on your heels the rest of the night and let the other team continue to attack you. But there's something to be said for just we're doing what's right in the moment, and we're not trying to push. We're trying to win a hockey game. And I think the Matthews line, like that's where they fall into that category right now, where the team gets off to an early lead and it's like, well, we don't have to open things up. We don't have to take unnecessary risk. If the puck is along the wall in the offensive zone, we're not like Mitch Marner's not just shoveling it into the middle because he feels like he urgently has to make something happen right away on this touch on the puck. Like there's an element of patience to their game, and if they get into a situation going to these 2 games in Ottawa if they're down a goal, if they're down 2 goals, we probably see that risk factor come back in, and it's like, okay, now they're cooking, they're really pressing, but maybe that's part of the learning curve and the maturity for this group, where it's like we just need to do what matters for winning this game, and that is the first priority. As far as what we're doing.
In year 9, it's got to be moving forward. All right, Frankie, good stuff, pal. Thank you for doing this.
All right, boys. Have a good one.
There he is, Frankie Corrado joining us. We got Struddy coming up. Jason Strudwick in 15 minutes. Big one in L.A. tonight. Big one. Stuart Skinner will get the start. Evander Kane's going to make his return, his debut tonight on the season. So we'll catch up with Struddy. We got the Habs, obviously, down in Washington. Big one for Montreal as well. Role play level of concern coming up. We'll start looking ahead to Game 3 in Ottawa tomorrow. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. All right, don't forget TSN 1050 giving away tickets to every Leaf playoff home game, and all you have to do is listen to us on the iHeartRadio app for your chance to win them. To enter, you download the iHeartRadio app, create an account, listen to TSN 1050 for at least 15 minutes straight. You can enter twice per day, so listen to First Up between 6 and 10 a.m. and Overdrive between 4 and 7 p.m. And the more times you listen, the better your chances of winning. Before each home game, First Up will be calling one devoted fan with a pair of Leaf tickets. Full details at tsn1050.ca. It was great to see Matthew Tkachuk out there looking like 100%. 2 goals and an assist last night.
Ass beating.
Wasn't that? That was wild, man. It was like, it was quick too. Like they were on the board quick, and I
don't know how the
that
series
coming game
unfold, Hayes, but it's just like it's almost like the coach had so much faith in this team that what they're going to do and how they're going to approach it come playoff time, that down the stretch it was like, you don't want them to win a division? I don't care. You don't want home ice? I don't care, because I know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
Yeah. They took
They don't care
home
where
ice
they
last
play.
night, Florida did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they took care of business. That's right. Tampa didn't look very good, and Florida looked really good. So that's
That happens.
game 1 for them.
It's only one game. And, all right, we got games tonight. We'll catch up with Struddy. Role play level of concern. We'll get into what could be happening around the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. Again, the Jays back in action as well. Jonas Siegel coming up later this afternoon. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.